Hi, it's Ramsey Dewey at the JX Fight Club in Shanghai, China. Today we have another question from our friend Vaniac17. She has started working as an assistant coach at her Taekwondo studio, and she's very concerned because, well, the students just don't seem to respect her as an authority figure. They're not intimidated by her. They seem to get out of control, especially the younger students, and the adult students don't seem to respect her because, well, they seem to look down at her like, oh man, I'm bigger and older than you, or whatever, right? Okay, this is a subject that is very near and dear to my heart because I'm a coach. It's what I do for a living. And I'm very, very interested in learning everything I can about the art of pedagogy, teaching, conveying and transmitting information. And in order to do that, we have to have people's attention. We have to command a certain amount of respect. Now, Vaniac17 asks, I don't want to be mean. She wants to know how to come across as more intimidating, how to command their respect, but not come off as mean. Okay, here's the good news. You don't necessarily have to be mean to command respect. You don't necessarily have to be big. She mentioned she's very slight of frame, kind of skinny, and not a lot of muscle on her. Not an intimidating looking person. I'm going to tell you a few different stories. Now, some people think I'm an intimidating looking person because I got a shaved head and some stubble on my face and some scars and kind of tall, and I got a deep booming voice. And so at my church, I got this assignment to teach Sunday school to the little kids, specifically because there was this group of boys who were just absolute rascals. And the lady who was teaching them the Sunday school class just couldn't handle it anymore. She was like, oh man, these kids don't respect me. They're climbing on the walls, literally climbing on the walls, just screaming and throwing fits and just no respect at all. And they thought, what if we get this guy who's tall with the big booming voice and the shaved head who looks intimidating, can't talk today, and get him to teach Sunday school. Then surely these children will respect him and they will sit quietly in their seats with their arms folded and listen to every word he says. Oh man, I can't believe people believe things like that. But they sent me in to teach these little kids Sunday school, to try to lay down the law, because they thought I would scare them. But here's the thing. Kids aren't scared of you, man. I mean, some of them are. Some kids are really timid and scared of stuff. But if there's even one in a class who's not afraid of you, that whole structure falls apart instantly. And I had no interest in scaring little kids, because I've worked with kids a lot in a lot of capacity. I've worked as a teacher. I did a lot of substitute teaching when I lived in the United States. And when you're a substitute teacher, you have to command respect instantly, or you will never have it the rest of the day, and they'll be climbing on the walls. And I found one of the best things to do is simply treat them like humans. Man, just treat them with respect. If you want people to respect you, you show them respect too. Now, this isn't 100% guarantee that a bunch of rascally little kids are going to respect you, but, you know, it's often a better solution than just trying to scare them. So be yourself, be genuine, right? If we try putting on a mask or like, I'm so tough, respect me because I'm angry, you know, it's not going to work because it's not genuine. And kids see right through that almost instantly. So I went into the Sunday school class and the kids start climbing around and I didn't care. I didn't care that they were climbing on the walls, and when they saw that I didn't care, they kind of settled down like, what? Aren't you going to try to stop us? Aren't you going to yell at us? I said, nope. And I remember I just kind of laughed at them. They were like, well, what's so funny? And, and it took a while, but they settled down. Why? Because the thing is, as I've said before, in any relationship, the person who cares less has the power. So if I went in there all anxious, like the lady who was in there before, like, why won't they listen to me? Oh, please listen to me. That lady just cared so much about their behavior, cared so much about them respecting her. And I didn't. And as a result, they settled down. Why? Because I took the power away from them. They were having fun with this power play, like, we have control. And as soon as they didn't have it anymore, boom. It wasn't fun anymore. Years ago, when I lived in Salt Lake City, Utah, I lived there for a while, I got a job at the Jewish Community Center up there. Before you ask, no, I'm not Jewish. I'm a Mormon. But there's a Jewish community center up there, and they gave me a job teaching children's Taekwondo classes. And we're talking about little kids, age 3, 4, 5, little preschoolers. And most of the kids were very well behaved. But a couple of them, Aiden, I'm looking at you, man, if you're watching this, little hellraiser. Anyway, this kid named Aiden, he was a rabble-rouser. And if you got one rabble-rouser in the bunch, man, all those kids get riled up. And if you don't nip that in the bud quick, they all follow the rabble-rouser, not you, not the coach. And so within 5 minutes of being there, I just figured that this was my first time teaching a kids' Taekwondo class. I was used to teaching adults where everybody knows why they're there. Adults pay to be there, right? They know how to line up and bow and all that stuff and follow orders. Children don't. So what you need to teach children is a very different skill set. You need to teach them to learn how to learn how to learn instead of, teaching them how to kick and punch and bow and all that stuff. But I didn't know that. So I went in there trying to teach them to bow and kick and punch and whatever. And within 5 minutes, they went nuts and they were climbing the walls and running around, and I could not get control of the class ever again. And man, they were throwing pads at my head, screaming, "Poo-poo head, you're a poo-poo head, ha ha ha. He said poo-poo head, that's so funny, ha ha ha." And it was a mess. And I remember one day, Aiden's mom came to pick him up afterward, and she said, "Oh man, I'm so glad you're here to teach my son some discipline." And at that moment I was like, that's not my job. That's your job as a parent to teach discipline. My job is to teach martial arts. But the thing is, if you're teaching kids classes, yeah, you do need to teach discipline primarily. Now here at the JX Fight Club, there are children's Taekwondo classes. Fortunately, I don't teach them, because that's not what I love to do. I like teaching adults to win fights. But teaching children, it's a whole different skill set. And the way they teach the small children is very different than the way they teach the older children. When they have the group of small children, 3, 4, 5 preschool age, the classes are all centered around games, like fun-based learning, to teach them to listen to an instructor, to teach them to follow orders, to teach them to line up, to teach them to respect an adult authority figure. And the Chinese method of teaching Taekwondo classes, I mean, it's got its pros and its cons, but the pros is how incredibly well organized they are. And I'd really like to get an interview with Miss Ma, one of the Taekwondo teachers. She's tiny. She is tiny, tiny little thing. She's probably weighs like 90 pounds soaking wet. She's short, petite, but she commands the respect of these children. Absolutely commands their respect. And she doesn't shout. She's not scary at all. I mean, she's just this nice, cute little thing. But she's genuine. But of course, she's had the advantage of working with these children for a while. and showing them, why they should respect how they need to act in a class and so on. So your role as the assistant coach, you've kind of been thrown into this. You're basically like the substitute teacher. You remember high school? Or junior high, or even elementary school, the substitute teacher comes in and all the kids whisper like, "Oh, it's a sub today. Oh, we can get away with so much bad stuff today. We can get away with murder. Let's just, we don't have to abide the rules anymore." People get really excited about that, man. Like I said, I did that job for a while. And one thing that worked in that situation was the wisdom of this old Chinese proverb, "Kill the monkey to scare the chickens." Let me give you an example. So I was teaching this middle school gym class. And again, you walk in there, you have to do something to command their respect immediately or you will lose it the rest of the day. Most of the kids were really well behaved. They liked gym class, they liked to be there, they were going to play some sport or whatever. But little Billy in the back didn't want to play by the rules. Little Billy wanted to do his own thing. He didn't want to listen. He wanted to be an outlier. He wanted to be a rabble-rouser. I remember that proverb, "Kill the monkey to scare the chickens." So what did I do? I said, "Look, little Billy doesn't want to cooperate. So everybody has to do push-ups. Drop and give me 20, everyone. If you don't do push-ups, then you'll have to do 20 more." So all the good kids, all the obedient kids drop to the floor and do the push-ups. Little Billy doesn't. He's like, "I'm not going to do that. Push-ups are stupid. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my dad, whatever. You're not the real teacher." And I say, "Well, look at this. Little Billy isn't doing his push-ups. Well, guess what? Because of him, now you have to do 20 more. So all the good kids start complaining, "Aw, Billy, that's not fair. Come on, do your push-ups, man." Billy's like, "No, I'm not going to do my push-ups." Well, look at that. Billy's still not doing his push-ups. Looks like everybody's going to have to do 20 more. Hit it. And all the good, obedient kids, they drop and they keep doing push-ups like, "Come on, Billy. You're going to pay for this after class, man. Do your damn push-ups." The chickens were scared. Now, this doesn't always work, but in this situation, it certainly did. So Billy, he didn't fear me. He didn't fear what I could do to him, because teachers aren't allowed to touch children in American school systems. Couldn't lay a hand on the guy. But I could exploit the obedience of the obedient students. And there's no rule that they couldn't lay hands on him after class. And they certainly wanted to. Billy didn't fear me, he feared them. He feared his peers. He respected his peers. And so I exploited the people that he respected. Now, I'm not saying exploit the students at your gym. Just throwing out some ideas. Now, teaching a combat sports class is kind of a unique situation. Whether it's Taekwondo or MMA or whatever. Right? Because there's this inherent posturing that comes along with it. No matter how much we say, "Oh, I leave my ego at the door," we can't separate it. Our ego is us. It just means I. It's yourself. So we bring it with us. And in combat sports, there's this inherent idea of competition. We're in competition. Even if you don't consciously think you are. We're always competing with something. Competing with the coach to be as good or better than he is. To learn what he has to offer. Competing with our fellow students. Sometimes physically and literally. And sometimes we're just comparing and contrasting our ability with theirs. And so when a younger, lower-ranked skinny person like yourself steps up and essentially conveys the idea, I'm in charge now, you must listen to me. People are competing with you. And a lot of them are thinking, well, I'm bigger than her, I'm more experienced than her, maybe I'm better than her in this way, and this way, and this way, and this way, I'm older than her, whatever. So they're competing. So, I've got to master the art of fighting without fighting. As Bruce Lee said, a lot of people come to my gym to test me. Sometimes people, they look me up online, I've mentioned this before, and they're like, oh, that guy's fight record doesn't look that impressive. They watch my technique videos like, oh, that guy doesn't know how to box, he does it differently than my boxing coach or whatever. I'm going to go test this guy. So they come to the gym, they try out a class, they get on the mat with me, they spar with me. And when you can physically dominate someone and show them, hey, I'm a whole heck of a lot better than you thought I was. I got stuff to teach you, and you got stuff to learn. That's the most pragmatic way to set the record straight. But you're not always going to be able to do that. I've got a student who's been training with me for a very long time, and this guy is huge. He is so strong, he could squish my head with one hand and just shatter my skull. This guy is just unbelievably strong. But he's trained with me consistently all these years. Why? Because I can outmuscle him? Absolutely not. I mean, if we got into a fight just based on sheer size and strength, the dude would probably murder me. But why does he respect me as a coach? Well, I'll tell you, for the simple matter that I respect him. A couple of things that can help to show your respect. One, learn their names and call your students by name. That's one thing I make it a point to do. Anytime there's a new student who comes in, I will learn their name, I will memorize their name, and I'll make sure everybody in the class knows each other's names too. There's a lot of power, positive power in a name. There's one word in the whole world that we respond to more positively than any other, and that's our name. So learn those names. I mean, that's the very first way that we can show respect and command respect. So if somebody's dawdling off in the corner at risk of becoming a rabble-rouser, and we say, hey, Billy, come here. I'd like to model a technique with you. Help me out with a demonstration. Suddenly Billy perks up like, whoa, wait a minute, my name. You ever play with a dog and you call that dog by name and suddenly the dog's like, its ears pop up and it's like, I heard my name. People are the same way. And that's another thing. If you want to command respect, get the students involved in the learning process. So, I don't know how your curriculum at your Taekwondo school works, but one thing I do at my gym is I'm constantly involving my students in demonstrating the technique. Like I'll say, okay, so we're going to show this takedown. Bob, come over here. I don't have a student named Bob right now, but I'm just throwing that out. Bob, come here. Let me borrow you for a second. And so we'll go through the motions, show it, have Bob try it out or whatever. And Bob feels good about himself, like, hey, I helped. I did something useful. I'm involved in this process. Had some hands-on learning. Or sometimes I'll say, you and you. Well, not you and you. I'll call them by name. Bob, Jim, come out here. Show us this, show us that. And Bob and Jim get really excited, like, okay, yeah, we can do this. Right? And so they're not thinking about, oh, there's this person over here, I'm in competition with him. They're not thinking, I'm in competition with the coach. They're thinking, I'm part of the learning process.